graduation and all that. So we're going to try to bring the guys up here, do some media stuff, meet with them a little bit, and go do our graduation ceremonies, and then come back tonight and practice. So the guys that graduate, they don't get to throw parties and everything. But this getting our practices in are important. You know, during the finals, which finals ended on Wednesday, we couldn't do a whole lot of practicing for a whole week. So we're a little behind right now. So we gotta get out there and practice. Speaking of the bowl, just the first time we've met since the announcements came out and all that, but just a lot of excitement in this building about going to Orlando. I consider Orlando one of the top, probably 2 or 3 bowl destinations that exist. I know WVU's been down there before. I've been down there one other time. But it's a good spot. Said that last year in regards to Scottsdale. But Scottsdale and Orlando, just from a weather perspective, resort style hotels, a lot of things to do, makes for a good bowl game. And then you couple it with a great opponent in Miami. It gives you a lot to practice for. It gives you a lot to play for. So a lot of excitement around here when it comes to that. Getting right into Miami, we'll do things the way that we've always done from a bowl game. We'll practice our tail off here. I like to give the guys a couple of days off. Before we report to the bowl game. You like to say, I'd like to give the guys a couple of days off for Christmas, but you don't control what the dates are. But give them a couple of days off and then report down at the bowl site and go through another weekly routine. So we'll have plenty of opportunity to be prepared for this game. Bowl game 101 is about wanting to play in the game, about not necessarily being prepared to play in the game because you got enough time to get prepared, but wanting to be in the game. And I think this sets up to where both teams are going to want to be there and both teams are going to play really well. Miami's a damn good football team. You can say, well, they're 8-4. That's not up to the standards of Miami, but they're a couple points away from being 11-1. Play a tough schedule. Have beaten a lot of good football teams. 1 point loss to Florida State. With 2 point loss to Notre Dame. A touchdown loss to North Carolina, and then a tough loss at Virginia Tech. So, quality football team. Coach Richt has been one of my coaching idols for a long time. Just the success that he's had when he was at Georgia, and then it really goes back to the success that he had when he was at Florida State. Just always watched what he did. Great football coach, great human being. Great offensive football coach. So offensively they're good, just like they've always been. He's done the same type stuff for a long time now. He's got some pretty good players to be able to do it. But it starts with their quarterback Kaya. If you say that this guy's the all-time leading passer at Miami, I'd say he's pretty good because they've had a lot of good quarterbacks through there. So I could have swore he had been a senior by now, but just a junior to be able to be the all-time leading passer in Miami history, it speaks for itself. They got unbelievable skill. Their running back, the Walton kid, we recruited the heck out of him, didn't get him. But he's a great player, scores a lot of touchdowns. They give him the ball a lot. Their receivers are as good as we've seen. The Coley kid and then the true freshman, Richards, he just broke Michael Irvin's freshman receiving records. I think the Irvin dude was a pretty good receiver down there. So, and then their tight end's the biggest and baddest dude that we've faced all year. Gives a lot of matchup problems. So, offensively, they don't turn the ball over. They can score at any point. They can control the clock. It's going to be a huge challenge for our defense. Defensively, Miami is really good. Statistically, as good as we faced. The only team that compares to them statistically is Kansas State, who statistically was a really good defense in the Big 12 this year. But the thing that you notice about what Miami does, it's Manny Diaz has been around for a while. I've competed against him for a long time. He's Plays a lot of odd front, likes to blitz. Just got guys coming from everywhere. Coupled with Big Cool, their defensive line coach, came from Missouri, who was at Missouri for a long time. I've known Cole for forever. He's considered probably the best D-line coach in the country. They're a 4 down front, so they've kind of merged the two, which is an interesting dynamic to watch. But they've been very successful at it. They're well coached. They play their tail off, and they get better and better and better throughout the course of the season. Got 5 or 6 true freshmen that play for them a lot, so they're going to continue to get better. There are 3 linebackers. You know, all 3 of those dudes are all true freshmen. I don't know if I've ever seen that. And they're big. They're 6'2", 230, 240, run, hit, and they're true freshmen. I'd hate to play against those guys here in a couple of years. You know, they're secondary-wise, they're great. Got another true freshman starting back there, but 29, the elder kid is a guy that I think he's going to the Senior Bowl. He's a really good player. Their safeties, compared to Oklahoma State's, old, been around for a long time, big, run, tackle, and then their front 4 is as good a front 4 as we've faced. So. We got our work cut out for us offensively because they really got great team speed. They're big, they tackle, and then schematically they pose some problems as well. Special teams, got to really pay attention to what's going on special teams wise. The one thing that stands out about them more than anything, they block a ton of kicks. They come after everything, whether it's PAT field goal, whether it's punt, they come after it and they get there quick. So we got to pay attention to the blocking of kicks aspect of things. Their cover guys are fast. As you can imagine, because of how they recruit and the type of recruit they get, the success that they have in recruiting year in and year out, they're incredibly fast. So they're big and they fast, which means cover guys get down the field and make things happen. So our return units have a huge challenge. They got solid specialists. With their kickers and their kicker and punter, both guys are as good as I've seen accuracy-wise, leg strength, averaging 40 yards a punt, and extremely solid with their field goal units. Kicked a lot, made a lot, and then they're about every other kick is in the end zone when it comes to the kickoff team. And then they got speedy returners as well. The Burroughs kid, we recruited him here. He's from North Carolina. The punt return guy, he's a kick return guy as well. He's dangerous. He takes chances. He makes things happen. So got our work cut out for us in this game. We'll prep again. We had a good day yesterday. We'll prep again tonight, tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon. And shoot over and watch Hugs win his 800th game, and then practice Sunday morning and let the guys get away for a couple of days prior to getting down to Orlando to have a great week down there for our bowl prep. So it should be a fun deal down there, as we all know. At the end of the day, it's only fun if you win. So hopefully we'll do what we need to do to be able to do that. Questions?
Yeah, I guess start to see if there's any bad news going into bowls, academics, injuries, things like that. Anything that's going to
the injury aspect of it, and leave it to Coach Hunter to bring up bad news, right?
you got to do it first.
Yeah, somebody does. But the injury aspect of things, you know, we had 2 weeks to heal up. As we all know, looking at Iowa State, looking at Baylor, there was walking wounded everywhere. So that was a good 2 weeks to be able to let the guys heal up, and we spent a lot of time down with Dave and Mike down in the training room and the weight room from a recovery aspect. So that's been good for us, as it is everybody. Nobody's been ruled out. Everybody's good to go. The long-term guys are the long-term guys. You know, academic side, we won't know. I think we're in pretty good shape. Brittany Odell, our main academic lady in the back, is fantastic. This is her first year here. She's from Orlando, so she's excited about the bowl game. But she did just a fantastic job with the guys, getting to know them and getting them in the right spots. I think we're going to be okay. We may lose one, but may lose one or two, but don't know that for sure.
You had mentioned Jalil Phillips had a chance to play.
Not gonna chance it.
Same thing with the Geese.
Never said that.
I was just.
Yeah.
You're worried about the time off, picking up momentum. You know, you just outlined a whole bunch of stuff that's gone on the last 2 weeks. Now you're starting to get back into gaming mode.
Not worried about it. Excited about it. the energy out at practice was good. I don't like going inside of practice, and I think I'd probably get a team revolting if I tried to go out at this point. But I thought the speed of the game was good. We went against each other for the first couple of periods, and energy was good, speed was good. Not worried about that.
And from your film review of Miami, they had the 4-game losing streak, then a 4-game winning streak. Did the execution actually change, or was the results more just the fact of how the schedule fell for them?
Yeah, probably schedule more than anything. I mean, they were in those. The Virginia Tech game. Virginia Tech played well. It's the first time I've watched Virginia Tech, and obviously we open up with them next year, so there's going to be a lot of film study on Virginia Tech moving forward. But that's the first time because there's no crossover in any of that stuff. Anytime you go a different conference, there's not a ton of crossover. So I hadn't watched a lot of the ACC this year, just like TV aspect of like Notre Dame and Florida State, that sort of thing. Virginia Tech played really well in that game. But other than that, those other three, I mean, they could have went either way. You're talking about a missed extra point versus Florida State. They're pretty good, it got down against Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I thought, played well and got down, and they came back. Just fell a couple points short. I mean, anytime you're within a point or two. I mean, how many times did we win a game where it was a point or two? And everybody's sitting there saying how excited we are about 10-2. Well, there was 4 games that were decided by less than a field goal. Same thing happened when we went to the Orange Bowl. I mean, there's the last 3 games of the year were decided by a point or two. So, I mean, it could go either way. And those games that they lost could have went either way. So, like I said, that they could be sitting at 11-1, and then they'd be in the college football playoff, and everybody's team would be a little bit different. Don't look at this team and say, "Well, shit, they're 8-4," right? I mean, good God, it's Miami, and they're 11. They could have been 11-1. So that's the way we're looking at it. I can assure you that. I won't swear anymore, Mike.
Have you seen growth?
Started to get fired up there. I was acting like I was talking to our guys.
I'll give you another one. Have you seen growth though from them, and as they've adapted to the different systems?
Oh yeah,
the coaching staff?
Yeah. Mark Richt's a good football coach now, and they're going to continue to improve. If you look at his bowl record as a head coach, it's good. He's an experienced, established guy that knows how to deal with this. So they got a plan in place that, and I think we do too, from the way we've done bowl games. In my 16 years of doing bowl games, we've won a bunch of bowl games. So I think we got a pretty good handle on it too. But they will continue to improve with it because he understands how to do things right when it comes to that. So we're expecting them to continue to get better.
When you look at Miami, is it Georgia stuff or is it stuff that he's doing to fit the players that he inherited from Miami?
It's Georgia stuff. He's always been pro style. He's going to have a fullback and a tight end, a couple wideouts, and run the ball, establish the run, and do some All-American type route combinations and all that. So it's pretty similar to what they did at Georgia. Their OC Thomas Brown was a running back at Georgia. His son's one of the quarterback guys. So a lot of the stuff that he's been doing for a long time. I'll give you no more. They went against them back in the 2006 Sugar Bowl or 4, whenever that was. 2005 Sugar Bowl. So Gibby's got a pretty good knowledge on what they've done in the past and what they're doing now.
And you mentioned that you've had experience with bowl teams and the like. So how different is it to coach a bowl game and get a team ready for a bowl game than having 4 days in the middle of the week?
It's easier. It's easier from a preparation standpoint. It's easier on the coaches. You got more time. So at the end of the day, it's about and there's nothing easy about it because the other team is doing the same stuff. There's other things that you got to worry about, like speed of the game and keeping their attention and separating fun activities from work activities. There's a lot of other challenges when it comes to that, but from a preparation point of view, it's a little easier when you sit in there all day one day and you got to get everything done in one day. That gets hard. To where, now I sat in there for 3 days to be able to get a game plan together. And then we can practice for 3 days, make some adjustments on some things that we don't feel real comfortable about, change some things, and then go down there and have a whole nother week of preparation. So it gives you a little bit more time to prepare, which is good. I do think at this point in the season, obviously, you kind of still are who you are. You're not going to be able to change it very much. Everybody says, well, you got 15 practices. Well, you really don't. You really don't have 15 practices. And there's not a whole lot that you can do from a personnel point of view to really change who you are.
Hard to recapture the emotion you had at the end of the season, though, or not?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think who we are is who we are at this point. I think we got a group of guys that like each other and fight hard for each other, which is why we won a lot of those close games, and finished the season the right way. Got to 10 wins, which is something to be proud of. But the next steps get to 11. What's the difference in winning 10 and 11? I mean, you get to 11. That's only been done here 5 times in 125 years. What's it mean to get to 10? Well, it's been done now 10 times in 125 years. So there's still things that we can target to where we want to achieve.
Anybody come up that's comparable on your schedule to Miami, or are they just that much different from anybody you've played this year?
They're different. Defensively, they got some Kansas State to them just schematically. Offensively, they do different things. I mean, they're more traditional. Big 12 is so spread, and they're just not that team. They're dangerous. Their yards per play is high, but they're not a typical Big 12 spread it up tempo type stuff. They're multiple. They can do a lot of different things. It's just a little different philosophy. So yeah, not really. I mean, it's a different kind of ball.
Is your scout more challenging with a team that doesn't have common opponents? You can't judge a tackle because you don't know how good the guy across from him is.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's still just video. You got a lot of information on who these guys are. A lot of different people have attacked them in different ways, and you can look at it and see what matches up with you. So it's easier now than it is in the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year, you don't know what you're going to get. From how guys improve, from what their bodies are, from if they've made scheme adjustments. Like I said, who you are is kind of who you are at this point. You go back and you look at their 12 games, and you got a pretty good idea of who they are.
Dan, what about the 2 big receivers you're bringing back, Sills and then the 6'5" kid? What is that maybe going to give you on the outside next year?
I'm happy for David to kind of put it to rest, and I told him, I said, go give it a shot, and he did, and he came. He said he wanted to come back. I was like, well, we'd love to have you. Know what we're getting with you. I think he's gonna develop into a great receiver. Maiden is a developmental guy. But to answer your question, it should help red zone. It should help red zone. We got a lot of 5'9", 5'10" guys that can run pretty good right now. We need bigger bodies. Cron's our biggest body. So hopefully Wesco develops, and those 2 kids are what we think that they can be, and that will help. It will help be able to complete passes in tighter space. That's our problem. Red zone wise right now, we're having a hard time completing passes in tight space. So that just bringing in a couple of guys that are a little different than what we have is probably the biggest thing.
Okay, thank you.